Thank you. Welcome to KFF 2024. Put those hands together. All right. Please, can you jam your hands together for Mr. Woma? This woman has not slept in days. She has not had a good night's sleep in days because of us. And I'm sure that we are happy, seeing the results of that. Please, can we jam our hands together for her once again? Okay, right about now, I would be inviting our anchor for the legal session. But I just want us to affirm ourselves. I want us to remind ourselves why we're here, who we are, and what we're being called to do. So can we say, I am a person of influence? I am a person of influence. I am a kingdom influencer. I am shining God's light in my world. I am God's salt, flavoring the world. I am God's light, shining in darkness. Is that true for you? Please jam your hands together for yourselves. Okay, please, you're going to jam your hands again. We're going to our legal session, and it's themed Navigating the Intersection of Creativity and Commerce, Understanding Intellectual Property Rights in Film and Media Production. And this session will be anchored by someone very, very versatile in her field. Like I said, if you follow her on LinkedIn, you would know why I am hyping her like this. Omotayo Inokoju is someone that gives you the source. She works with the Ebony Live team, so she has the experience, she has the expertise, and she's going to tell you a whole lot. I should say I have learned a lot about intellectual property protection since I started following her. So I personally cannot wait to glean from her wisdom. Please, can you jam your hands together as I welcome Omotayo Inokoju to take the stage. You're welcome. I was so great. Please keep clapping until she gets here.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I sent my slide, so let's just give them a few minutes to set it up. Good morning, everyone. So happy to be here this morning, and I'm always excited to be in the midst of filmmakers, actors, creatives in general. And like she rightly introduced me, my name is Omotayo. Thank you. Inokoju. And I love to be referred to as a film lawyer, because I am particularly passionate about the film industry. As you know before now, of course, there are entertainment lawyers. And I could actually say, oh, I'm an entertainment lawyer so that I can work with everyone in the industry. But for me, I've decided to pitch my tent with film and be a film lawyer, regardless of the fact that I still work with music artists, content creators, and other creatives. Sorry, I'm just trying to wait so that it can. So for today, I'll be talking about intellectual property, of course, and how it relates with film. Because I know a lot of you may be wondering that, what has intellectual property got to do with filmmaking? Or how does it even translate to money for me? But then, one thing you must understand is that if you don't value what you create as a filmmaker, as an actor, as a screenwriter, or creatives in general, you wouldn't understand the importance of protecting your IP. So let me ask a quick question. If you were to choose between owning the Eco Hotel property, we all know Eco Hotel property, right? And owning Disney trademark, just the trademark, that brand name alone, what would you choose? Answers, please. Okay, So if you were to choose, like you wake up this morning and you just got the offer, oh, would you like to own the Eco Hotel property? We all know Eco Hotel, right? Or to own Disney trademark alone? Which would you choose? Okay, why would you say Disney trademark? Why would you choose Disney? Okay. Okay, so how do you determine value? Or what makes you think is more valuable than the hotel property? A wrap. I agree with you. So does anybody have a divergent opinion that feels, okay? Interesting. Does anyone believe that Eco Hotel is actually better and valuable and would want to own Eco Hotel over Disney trademark? Let's be free. Let's just have a conversation, right? So, and that's actually that's actually true, in the sense that property is a property, and we know how real estate is increasing in value by the day, especially when you consider the value of naira and dollar. We understand that, oh, real estate property is growing every day. But one thing you must understand is that as we speak, I did a quick Google search, and Disney trademark is worth about $46 billion. And that's just the trademark alone. But Eco Hotel is nothing close to that. And that is how you should always see what you are creating as a filmmaker. Because you are not just creating a film, you are creating value. You are creating intellectual property that your unborn kids can actually take advantage of and also make money from. I don't know why it's taking so much time to pull up my slides. Let me just use my phone. Oh, finally. So next slide, please. Thank you. So I think I've said so much about myself already. The content, you only protect what you value, which is what we're speaking about. IP protection and film, contract is key, then takeaways and conclusion. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, so we were here. So like I was saying, whatever I would say here would make no sense to you if you don't value what you create as a filmmaker or as an actor, because you only feel the need to protect what you value. And all of us here, I believe that majority of our money is actually in the bank, safe and protected, because what? We value the money. And whatever it is that you value, you need to find a way to protect it. Next slide, please. So how do you monetize your creativity. It could be either by service for hire or creating to own. So for some of us that are producers in the room, Mr. Chris, pardon me, let me use him as an example, can actually hire your service to produce a film as a producer. In that case, what you have done is just to hire or to offer your service for Mr. Chris. In return, you get paid. But in that case, you don't own the IP in what you have created. What you have just done is to offer service in return for, it could be a one-off payment, it could be a recurrent payment, right? But at the end of the day, Mr. Chris owns the IP. Then the same thing for if you are a paid employee. If you are a paid employee, you don't own the IP. Your employer owns the IP. Except if you now sign a contract that says, oh, you and your employer would actually co-own the IP. But under the law, once you have been employed and you've signed your employment contract, and your employment contract says that all the works that you have created during your employment belongs to your employer, then you don't own IP. Then you can also monetize your creativity by creating to own. Right? So you are a big man, you have the money. You buy scripts or you buy stories, you hire actors, you get your location, you put everything together and you make your film. That way, you own the film. Next slide, please. So when you own the film, how do you monetize it? How do you monetize the films that you own? So the first one is very straightforward, outright sales. So you've made the film, you've shot it for 20 million, and a Netflix sees the film, or a Prime, and they want to buy it out outrightly. And they give you 120 million. Go, and we don't want to meet you again. They've purchased it outrightly. And you've gained how much? 100 million. Right? So let's say 20 million is your cost. But you've made a profit of 100 million. So that's how outright sales worked. So for licensing, thank God we're in a cinema hall. How that works is that you license your film to cinemas, and it's usually through distributors, right? That's why we have people like Silverbird Cinemas, we have Film One, we have Blue Pictures, right? All these people are film distributors. So once your film is ready, you go to them and say, oh, I have this film, I would love to exhibit it in cinemas. Then they take the film from you, offer it to cinemas at different sharing formula or whatever it is that apply in each case. They sell the film for you, and the film shows in cinema for maybe a month, 3 months, if it's a Tribe of Judah kind of film. It would usually have a long run. If not, it would leave the cinema, and after that, they will pay you the license fee. Then the same thing for streaming platforms. We know the Netflix, the Prime. You can sell your film to them or license your film to them, and they pay you for the film to be on their platform for an agreed period of time. Then the same thing for airlines too. Then product and brand placement. How many of us have seen Smart Money Woman? So did you see how she played with different brands in that film? So I quickly watched just episode 1 last night, and I could count like 5 brands that she had in that film. I saw UBA, I saw Luno, I saw Mattel. And all these people would have invested in that film, right? They would have given her money. So if she's not getting money, she's getting her cost of production reduced, right? So Mattel can say, oh, we want to be the headline sponsor of this film. We want our products to show in maybe 15 scenes, right? And in return, we would give you 50 million. By that, if your budget was supposed to be 100 million, you already have 50 million sitting pretty without even, releasing the film, right? And that's how you monetize. So when you are writing your story, be creative, right? So in this story, how can I incorporate brands or products that would give me money, right? And when you are doing this, please don't forget the place of contract. You need to be very, very clear in terms of what you are offering and what they are getting in return. So if they say they are paying you 50 million, how? Would the 50 million be paid upfront? Or some portion will be paid during production while other portions will be paid after the film has been produced? So when you are negotiating, negotiate clearly and also back it up with a contract. Then the next one is merchandising. So merchandising is actually a very big part of film monetization that we as Nigerians, we really need to do better with it. But I know a few people are actually doing that. I think Kunle Afolayan, yeah, he does it sometimes. And I think when he did the first Anikulapo, he did merchandise. He sold T-shirts, right? With people, with actors' faces on the T-shirts. So these are creative ways that we can actually make money with our films. Next slide, please. So then, what is the relationship between creativity and IP? So you may wonder that, okay, all this plenty talk, what does it have to do with IP? So once you've created your film, what you've created, like I said before, is beyond just film. It is actually a property that is intangible. You know, when you have a building, you can touch it. When you have a car, you can touch it. But for a film, it is intangible in nature. But then, it is a property that can be monetized and is exclusively owned by the creator. So once you have shot your film, you exclusively own that film, which means no other third party can monetize, can sell, can license, or distribute, or remake the film without your authorization. So let me give you an instance. So let's say myself and Mr. Chris, don't worry, Mr. Chris is my friend, so I will use him as example so much. So let's say myself, Mr. Chris, and Judith. Judith is my friend too. Hi, Judith. So let's say the three of us, we are in filmmaking business, right? You know, as audience, that means you have option. You can either watch my film, watch his film, or watch Judith's film. And what that means is there is a market share that each of us can have. I cannot have the entire market share. He cannot have the entire market share. Neither can she, because we are three players, right? But if for some reasons Mr. Chris drops out, Judith drops out, and I'm the only person, what happens? I own the market share entirely. And that is why IP is important, in the sense that it gives you exclusive rights to make money. Imagine that everyone in this room can license your film, can sell your film. It means it's only a little portion that we get to you as a filmmaker. But when only you owns the right to sell, license, remake, and do all these things. And any third party that even wants to do it, they need your permission. That makes you like a semi-god, right? And that's why owning your IP is very, very important. Then the second one, it gives you the right to sue third-party infringer. So let's say after all this, I own the IP exclusively. Mr. Chris now wakes up one day. He decided to upload my film on YouTube. Without my consent, without my authorization. I just wake up one morning and my film, live and direct, from A to Z, has been uploaded on YouTube. I will sue him. That's the next thing, right? I would sue him and get my money back. And when we talk about faith-based film, right, the same thing that applies to regular film also applies to faith-based film. If you infringe on another person's copyright, they will not say, oh, it's a faith-based film. No, copyright is copyright everywhere in the world. And how many of us read Sinach's story yesterday that they sued her for 9 billion or something like that? Yes. Our producer sued her. And she sings gospel songs. Okay. And she sings gospel songs. So gospel film, gospel songs, the same law binds everything. So you can't say, because I'm making a faith-based film, I will not protect my IP. Or I will use other people's work. After all, we are doing the Lord's work. We know you are doing the Lord's work, but do it properly. Do it within the bounds of the law. And it's not only to protect you, but also to protect your fellow artists. Do unto others what you want others to do to you. If you don't like it that you wake up, your work has been distributed without your knowledge, so you too don't do it to other people. Next slide, please. So IP protection and film. Like I said before, every time you make films, you create an IP. Then what are the types of IP that we have? Number one is trademark. So your trademark is anything that can be used to identify your brand as a filmmaker or to identify the films that you are making. Those are your trademarks. So we talk about your company's name, we talk about your company's logo, we talk about the title of your film. Once you hear Anikulapo, you know that's Kunle Afolayan, right? So that's his trademark. Anything that can be used to identify you is actually your trademark. Then, so your character names, your brand names, your logo, you can protect all that under trademark. Then copyright. This is the main thing that you must understand as a creative. Copyright. What does it mean? Copyright is your right to exclusively copy your work. It's as simple as that. No other person can copy your work without your knowledge. So what are the things that copyright protects? Your music, sound recording, literary work, audiovisual works, artworks. So films fall under audiovisual works. Then the next one is your patent. So if you are able to innovate a new camera, right, that can capture long distance than any other camera that is currently existing, that's your patent. So if you are able to innovate anything on a very large scale and it has commercial value, that is actually your patent. Then the final one is your trade secret. You see the way Mr. Chris shoots his film, right? And nobody knows how he gets the color grading or how he gets the trade secrets in his film. That's actually a trade secret. So anything that you use in your film that distinguish you from other people, and you know it doesn't fall under trademark, it doesn't fall under copyright, and it cannot be patented, what you should do is actually to keep it secret so that other people don't copy it. Next slide, please. So why should you care about copyright? Like I said, copyright protects films and media content. It gives you the exclusive right to reproduce, distribute, perform, publish, adapt, or otherwise exploit your films. Copyright gives you the ownership right and the right to sue any third party that exploits your creativity. So important principle, I'll run over this quickly. The author of a creative work has automatic ownership. So like we said before, except if your services has been hired or you are in a paid employment. But once you have created the work, once you have put pen to paper to write the script, once you have entered the studio to record the song, once you have shot the film, your copyright is automatically protected. Next slide, please. That's what I've said already. However, registration is highly recommended. So like I said, protection under copyright is automatic. Once you have created the work is original, right? And is in a fixed form. You enjoy automatic protection. But it is very, very important for you to register your copyright with the Nigerian Copyright Commission. And it does two things for you. Number one, you get the certificate, which serves as proof of ownership. Then number two, if people want to use your work, they can easily trace you through the registry because they will have all your details, your name, when the work was published, who owns the work, you know, all that information, they would have it. So number three, joint creation does not mean equal ownership. So if myself, Mr. Chris, and Judith create a work, we shoot a film, we don't automatically own equal rights, right? The law believes that the person that has come up with the idea and brought the two of us or the three of us together automatically owns the work. Except if we now have a contract to say, oh, Omotayo has 50%, Mr. Chris 20%, Judith 30%. So don't assume anything, especially when you are creating jointly. Next slide, please. Copyright protection does not last forever. This is very important. So your copyright doesn't last forever, especially for film. It lasts for 50 years from when the work was first published or released. So if you release your film today, start counting your copyright because you only have 50 years. And what happens after that is that it goes into the public domain. Anybody can then wake up and use the work. But for music, literary work, artistic work, that one lasts for 70. It lasts for the entire life of the creator and 70 years after the death of the creator. Next slide. Just like real estate property, right? You can sell your copyright or license it to third parties. We've said that already. However, for such transaction, must be in writing for it to be effective. Next slide. Not all unauthorized use amounts to copyright infringement. So when I buy Mr. Chris' book, okay, I have a copy of his book. Hope you all do. Once you buy the book for your private use and you don't photocopy it to sell, you don't sell it to another person, that's for your private use. That's fair use in law, and you cannot be sued for copyright infringement. So also, when you use it for research work, for criticism, parody, caricature, and all that, you cannot sue the person for copyright infringement. So when someone uses your work, you may need to confirm, does this usage fall under fair use, or I actually have a ground to sue the person? So if it falls under any of those lists, it means it is fair, so you cannot sue such person. So when someone now infringes on your copyright, what do? The first thing is to gather all your evidence. If the person has uploaded it on YouTube, just take the details of the YouTube channel, right? Also screen grab some portion of the film. Then reach out to the person to say, boss, Alpha, I just saw my film on your platform now. I'm not aware about this transaction. You've not paid me. Nobody has reached out to me. Could you kindly pull down my work and pay me all the monies that you've generated so far? But if the person has coconut head, right, report to, if it's a YouTube, if it's an Instagram, all of them, they have reporting protocols, right? Just report to the channel. And the next thing they will do is to take down the work, right? And after that, if that still don't work, you may need to then talk to your lawyer to sue the person to court. Next slide, please. So takeaway tips to protect your copyright. The first one is to register your work to get optimum protection. When collaborating or licensing your work, use contracts. Don't assume anything. Depending on the nature of transaction that you have, always have contracts. If you are using actors in your film, if you've engaged script writers, if you've engaged directors, you've engaged DOPs, all these people, ensure that they have contracts. Then when your finished product is ready, copyright it, register it with the Nigerian Copyright Commission, and after that, when distributing, ensure that you have a standard distribution agreement. Then put copyright notice on your work. That's the one we see when a film is starting. This film is copyrighted, that's that year of that year. Then before using a third party's work, like I said, seek permission and give credit. Then finally, credit is not an automatic replacement for payments. So you don't just go about using people's work simply because you feel you've given them credit. Under the law, creator has two rights, payment and credit. They are not one or the other. They are together. It's a bundle of rights. So don't assume that because I've given you credit, you are not entitled to payment, except if the person willingly says, I don't want money, just give me credit. Other issues, clearance, use of third parties work, legal issues, work with a film lawyer instead of a random lawyer. So it's not all lawyers that are vast in film business. So you want to work with lawyers that are experienced. I know a lot of us, we have younger brother or sister that just finished from law school and we want to use him or her. In as much as that might save you cost, but you have to be careful because your sister or brother may not be experienced in film transactions and may not know what to look out for or what to be provided for in your contracts. Finally, as a creative entrepreneur, having a proper structure for your business, protecting and maximizing your brand and content to create general wealth should be your topmost priority. So the question is, what are you doing to achieve your goal? Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So because of our time, I want us to just take two questions.
Just 2 questions. Mr. No. Mr. Chris, you will pay for consultation. Okay. No, count Mr. Chris. Count, let him ask for one. Don't worry, no, just ask one. We'll talk on the phone. Okay. Okay, so because trade secret is a secret, like it is called, and once you register anything with government, it becomes public. So you can't register trade secrets. The only thing you can do is, number one, keep it to yourself. If you cannot keep it to yourself, you must share it with a third party, use NDAs. Those are the two things. Yes, they are like a recipe. It's just like Coca-Cola going to register its recipe with their national copyright, whatever it is you get. Once you register something with the government, it has become public. Anybody can access it. And you don't want anybody to access your trade secrets that gives you market edge. So that's the way it works. Then the other part of WhatsApp, WhatsApp, it's a means of communication, right? But then you can, like you said, you can conclude on WhatsApp, then cross it over to a contract. But then if it's a business transaction, I always say emails are better, right? Emails are better. Just like emails can still be compromised, but that's actually the official means of communicating when it comes to businesses. But then, be it email, WhatsApp chat, or anything, ensure that you then change it into a contract that is signed by both parties. Because we can say, oh, we had these conversations, but we never concluded on it. Show me the agreement that I signed to say I will pay you 50 million. It could be a normal chat and nothing followed. You get, we might not have executed the transactions, but we had conversations. So you can't bind me with just conversations. But if it's a contract that is dated and it is signed by both parties, it is easy.
Okay, ma. Thank you so much, ma, for that enlightening session. I enjoyed myself, and you answered every question I had. But I'm going to still ask this one regardless. So I noticed this is a problem with the